Welcome to the GreatBase Tennis Podcast. I'm Steve Smith along with Dave Anderson. I'm coming to you from Ave Maria, Florida. Dave is in Dallas, Texas. Welcome, Dave. Welcome, listeners.
Yeah, good to be here. Looking forward to another chat.
Let's talk about a promotional idea on the Ave Maria campus. November 15th, I believe. It's a Saturday. It's about 10 hours. We're going to run a sunrise to sunset marathon. And I think you were part of those back in the day in Tyler, Texas, correct?
Yeah, TK Gorman, sunrise to sunset. Yeah.
Ave Maria is a Catholic university, TK Gorman in Tyler, Texas, a Catholic high school. I remember the players were so happy when we came in. We were running another program. We said, yeah, we'll make that a side project. Typically, we started working a little harder, and then there were some complaints, but I remember they went on and won many of the Texas Catholic state championships. They still have that in Texas where they have their own separate tournament?
Yeah, they do, the private schools. And I don't know if the Catholic school system has their own anymore. I could check into it, but I think it all falls under, there's two different private school organizations. And I think they filtered into one of those.
Oh, everything turns into a story. I think of Isabella and Victoria de Rosa. My name being so common, I was working with some players from El Paso, and she still hits balls. This is Victoria. Her parents are there as well. And, well, Steve Smith. I wonder if it's the same Steve Smith. So she heard my voice. In the pro shop, they were playing with these slow motion tapes that we make, and still hits the ball really well. We had 3 girls back when you were helping me. They all went to TCU, and they all stopped because of lab sciences. But there was another girl, Nina Reiner. That's the story. We'll talk about the promotional idea, but so we're sharing some ideas. But Nina, remember the acronym I came up with? Nina. Never invite Nina anywhere. A little bit of fun, a little bit of locker room humor. But she is doing all these different sports. And this is a great story. Her junior year, I mean, you obviously were there helping me all the way with that. So she was athletic because she played these other sports. I mean, she was a cheerleader, basketball. I mean, I'm not sure, volleyball. And I said, well, if you want to play college tennis, it's time. You're going to be a junior in high school. And she did the whole thing, hook, line, and sinker. And she won the Catholic state championship. But she came out, did the body balance and the tracing of swings on the wall and shadow swinging. And remember the juniors, like, well, okay, but no, if you can be with our group, we had a very successful squad, a small squad. And I said, no, you just have to come out and put the time in. I think it's very important to say, no, it's not based on the level. I know some programs now, they will only take people if they have such and such UTR. I just don't understand that. I think you take anybody who wants to be a better player. Long story short, so the next year, wanted to be at a higher level of competition, so she went to play for the high school. And I remember that she won the last match out her senior year. All those kids were like, who's this beginner that's joining us? So 2 years later, she won the last 2 years. And she had played tennis, but she had to go back and totally rebuild her game. But she won the last match out it was Robert E. Lee High School. I know now they've changed the name of the school, but for Robert E. Lee High School to win the state championships. And then with that, I remember one of the students, Julie Scott, she won the last match out for Stanford to win the NCAAs. And I remember telling Julie, I said, Julie, you've experienced this before. And she said, what do you mean? I said, well, in high school, Nina Reiner won the last match out for you to win the high school state championship. But let's go back to the sunrise to sunset. What comes to your mind?
Well, I think it's a great way for awareness of the kids to get a little bit of a philanthropic vantage point on raising money, fundraising. Immediately when you think of sunrise to sunset, I think of wrestling. Fred Foreman. I still have pictures of it. I don't know who took the pictures from TK Gorman, but Fred and I down on the ground doing a little bit of wrestling, throwing the football. Those are good memories. We were the perceived coaches then, but learning right along with the kids. And I think it's a great event. Actually, it's funny because in 2026, in a previous podcast, I talked about calendar of events. And I think it's a great way for people that are in our situation like here where, the cost of kids going to nationals, it's just become a mess, right? It's trying to you just have to seemingly go out of section so much to play. And I think it can be a tool for some of us to help some of these families build some surplus and some funding. And, it could be used for anything really, but that's the first thing that comes to my mind, to help nullify a few costs associated with this sport that with the current system are kind of inevitable if you're going to play it.
TK Gorman, I know one thing we did is We helped them resurface the courts. But certainly a self-motive for us is during the summer is I had a key to the gym, and there was 2 gyms actually. One was the old wooden floor. We put up a net when the kids were playing on wood. We had the whole place to ourselves of the summer. And then the other gym, so busy during the basketball season, but it was a rubberized surface. But for our listeners, 2 North Dakota boys, acting like Teddy Roosevelt Jr., 1 and 2, is that Freddie was a really good wrestler. Instant party, Mr. Personality.
State champion.
I said, all right, Anderson, you're wrestling for me. And you were the trooper, and you remember you guys wrestling. But here's on the format. Each participant, we're presenting this evening to the team players. It'll be interesting. We've only been here 10 days, and just say, okay, this is what we got to do. We got to do this in a 10-hour day. Each participant will practice 10 hours. Each hour is broken into 3 segments, 40 minutes of slow-paced tennis progressions. It's really interesting. People have never played before can come out. They can end up having a pretty good serve and not hit a forehand volley and such. So 40 minutes of slow-paced tennis progressions, 10 minutes of fun contests with prizes. You got to get the prizes donated. And we've got a Publix here. That's the popular grocery store here in Florida to go to. 10 minutes of the bananas, the bagels, and the juice. And you do that each hour. So we're asking each kid if they could have 10 sponsors. Each one's going to give them $3 per hour. So that's $30 per person, 30 times 10. Each participant should be able to raise $300. Last time I did this was a few years ago, Tennis Memphis. And I think we raised $12,000. But you get anybody and everybody to participate. Anyway, that's how it works. Sunrise to sunset. Just kind of like a walkathon, and it just takes enthusiasm. And, you got to get the music going. And, certainly from teaching tennis back in the 70s and 80s, where there's so many people playing, have the group dynamic skills. A few things on group dynamics, Dennis Vandermeer. And a side note, Pat, age 76, he just passed away last week, Pat Vandermeer. So rest in peace, Pat Vandermeer. Dennis, you have everybody shake hands, and then whether you have an odd number or even number. And if you have an odd number, then you've got to participate if you're the only person out there. And the key thing is to have a whistle. But you have to position yourself where you can see everyone. But you have to go very slowly, pace the people. You have to have a rain plan. That's very important. They have an outdoor gym here. Even if you have to turn into an indoor classroom. But you got to just keep going for the 10 hours. Anyway, TK Gorman, I remember you being part of that. And seems like yesterday in one way, but it was so many years ago. But the format, it works. But yeah, I think for yourself, or running to get kids be able to help them with their fees to go to tournaments. It's like I think that's one thing too in fundraising is where does the money go? How are you going to help tennis players with their financial costs?
I think it's so important to. I've run this idea. I have to get it approved, but hosting of tournaments is another way for people. I love the sunrise to sunset, and then I'm just trying to find ways to creatively raise money here too to help nullify some of these costs, because I don't see the things turning around for people. I think it's just continuing to get more expensive, which is the whole one of the primary factors in the beauty of the GreatBase. It's to try to get people to where they don't have to break their bank and get a second mortgage to have their kid navigated through the waters to college tennis. But we're fighting an uphill battle with it, and any help that we can give, I think, helps the game and helps the kids. So that's what it's all about.
No, it's good input. I think for tennis, GreatBase, we're always saying make tennis more affordable, more accessible, and more truthful. I would like to see ladders come back. I'd love to see ladders come back. I'd love to see veteran versus youth matches come back. That's one thing. If people can't donate money, they can donate time. Really kids that are under the age of 10, the people that are over the age of 60, like go out and play a set of singles with those young kids. And it shouldn't be a matter of, remember Wayne Bryan always saying that, you should be able to walk around your neighborhood or get on your bicycle. Maybe your mom doesn't have to take you too far away from your home, right down the street, so you can play more matches and increase the match count. No, we need to find energy. I even think tennis kids should show up. Jeff Lewis is always saying one thing about pickleball is all these mini tennis courts are being built all over America. I think it's a great idea to jump on a pickleball court with a tennis racket and foam balls. And I'm encouraging tennis players, use your tennis strokes. It's interesting when they pick the pickleball paddle, their game just goes out the window, but it shouldn't be that way. Move your feet, use your large body parts. I think of it as baseball, softball, and wiffle ball. and you want to have the same batting mechanics with a wiffle ball that you would with a baseball. It's just going to come in a little bit slower. Yeah, that's when we can just put down as a promotional idea is sunrise to sunset, 10 hours, have it planned out where it's 40 minutes of activity, learning takes place, 10 minutes of a fun contest. Everything goes better with music, live music. We've done it with live music before. 10 minutes of prizes. Anyway, let's sign off on that one. David.
Yeah. Great concept.
Well, it's always good to go back to the memory bank. But listeners, I hope you got something out of that. Thank you very much.